can I say my dad?
Of course.
Well, then obviously I'd say him just because, he's been there since day one, and he's taught me everything I know basically up until I got to college. Once I got to college, he just let go of the reins completely, and he just said, you're a big boy now and go do whatever you want to do. But he definitely got me to that point. So for the majority of my football career, everything that I'm able to do is, because of him. So. There's definitely hills and valleys. At the beginning, my sophomore year, my brother was actually the starter, and then I ended up, taking his job when he got hurt. So it was definitely an interesting complex in our family. He was a senior, I was a sophomore, and then I ended up starting over him. And then, people would say within the community, just like, he's only playing because of his dad, and he doesn't deserve to be here, because it's a pretty prestigious high school program. They've won a couple state titles early, or we've been around like 25 years. And then we've had a lot of success at the quarterback position with Spencer Sanders, he's at Oklahoma State. James Battle, he played Division I football. Scotty Young, just a bunch of really good quarterbacks, especially at the high school level. And then, we're having some success, so then I was the next guy. And just, people were skeptical for sure, but I ended up proving myself right and showing everyone that I was a pretty good quarterback. He got hurt at like halftime of I want to say the fourth game of the season, and then once he was back healthy, I guess they had a talk within the coaching staff, and they just said, we're going to stick with Seth. So that was kind of hard for my dad, obviously, just because he's in a hard position. His oldest son, who's a senior, who's never got to play varsity football, and then, his middle son. So just having to, he kind of took that decision out of his hands and let his staff kind of decide. But it didn't really create any tension between me and my brother and my dad. Just kind of went with the flow, because it was unfortunate he got hurt in the first place, but for sure, that's kind of just what happened. He talks to me after every one of our games, but every one of his games, no, not really.
Yeah.
But I still keep in touch kind of with how they're doing, how they program, because I'm still friends with a lot of those guys. Because they were on a state championship team my senior year, and they're still really talented, have some 5 stars, 4 stars, some good kids. So I keep in touch with a lot of them and see how their season's going. But he talks to me after every one of my games just to catch up, basically. I definitely think there's truth to that. I'm probably biased since I am a coach's son, but I wasn't even recruited until late in the process, in my opinion. But I didn't really take offense to that. I just saw it as I'm playing with a bunch of great players, so they probably think I'm just, throwing it to the great players and letting them do their thing. But, I was kind of hidden by their talent, I guess I would say. But I think there's definitely truth in that, just because being a coach's son, growing up, always being around football, just since I was a little kid, always having football in my hands and having that kind of ingrained into me, just Bay family football, and just football is a big part of that, just our whole lives growing up, our whole entire families. So just always being around it, I feel like it gave me a little edge over other quarterbacks and other players. I don't really have too many rituals. The only thing that I have to do before a game is I elevate my feet, right before we run out. I elevate my feet, and then I'll just look up. I like to look into a light if a light's above me, and then I'll just stare at the light and then blink, and then close my eyes, and I'll listen to 2 or 3 songs just like that, just kind of to ground myself, I guess, and just be in the moment. Be where my feet are, and that's one thing I always like to just have that mentality. Don't think about the future, just be where I am right now. Don't think about tomorrow or anything like that, or don't think about any other play that's going to happen besides the first play, stuff like that. But out of Memphis, I'd say the Hawaii Bowl. I don't know if you'd count that, but going there, it was just a great time. Got to be with my favorite people. Members of the team, my friends, the coaches that I have great relationships with. So we obviously didn't play that game, but just going there, it was a once in a lifetime experience for sure. And then in Memphis, there's a lot of great memories, but I couldn't really pick anything particular. Just in the city, just with football or outside of football, there hasn't really been a dull moment. Just always something to do, and always getting better, stuff like that. I was actually forewarned about this question, so I had some time to think about it. My top three, in no particular order, I'd say Braveheart. I'd say The Notebook. Just throw a little love in there. Gotta have a little love. And then I'd say Parasite, which won Best Picture, I think 2019. You have to watch it with subtitles, but it's a really good movie. Well, I'd say I'd have to hang out with my girlfriend for a little bit of the time. I'd probably hang out with my roommates and just play cards or play a board game, and then just watch a movie probably. But if it's during the season, we obviously had our bye week last week, so we had 2 days off. Kind of did the same things, but also watch some film just because it's still in the season. But if it's outside of the season, I'd probably just relax, call my mom, call my dad. Nothing major. I've gotten this one a lot, but I wouldn't say anyone in particular, but players that I like or that are fun to watch, obviously, are Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, Mahomes. I'd say those three are the ones I like the most, or I feel like I could play like them potentially. Yeah, I had that assumption too. It wasn't until late in the summer that I was like, okay, I'm going to be the guy, or I had that mindset. Every single day during spring ball, my goal was just to get a little bit better. And then Coach Johns had told me, coming in early, he was like, I want you to be competing for the job when fall comes around. And every coach at the college level is going to say what the kid wants to hear to a certain extent. But I also believed him a little bit. I just felt like I had everything available to me to be within the top two. And in my mind, I was like, I'm going to be the backup to Grant. That was my goal. My goal was to climb up the depth chart and be the number two if something were to happen. And then obviously something did happen, and he ruptured his Achilles early during that fall camp or late during the summer. I forgot which one it was, but that happened to him. He tried to play on it for a little bit. They tried to get him to go, and he couldn't move that well. So he was like, I'm going to get surgery. And then at that point, it was just an open field. It was me, Keelan Brown, and Peter Parrish. That was really it. And I felt like I had a good chance to be the starter. So that's kind of how it went. It wasn't really a battle even at first. That spring I was getting all the 4 reps pretty much, and then I got 1 rep with the ones I remember, and I threw 2 balls into the dirt that spring. I had Calvin on a little slant, and I just threw it at his feet, and then I had a slant to, I think, Javon, and then it was a bad ball too. So I was like, dang, I missed my opportunity in the spring, but I wasn't too worried or too stressed. I just kept my head down and stayed quiet and just worked, and then things ended up in my favor by the time the season came around. I never experienced anything like it in my life, and football has been such an important thing in my life since I was a boy. So, to be the starter of a team that's not doing well, it definitely opened my eyes. I wasn't used to losing at all, and I still hate losing, but it kind of it really helped me grow. I just learned what it was like to lose, I guess I would say, which is never a good thing to learn, but I feel like everyone has to have that experience at some point. It definitely helped me grow as a person as well, just because you're gonna lose at some point in your life. Bad things are gonna happen. So it just helped my mindset as well. But to be in that situation was pretty upsetting to me, just because I knew what we were capable of as a team and as an offense in particular. We'd beat Mississippi State, we'd beaten some good teams, and then lost to some teams we shouldn't have lost to be straight up. But turnovers were a really big factor in those games, and I put that on myself, but really just helped me grow and helped me learn to lose, and just kind of take it in stride, which is not necessarily a good thing, but it's something that I felt like I had to learn, and I'll continue to take with me after football as well. Yeah, to answer your question straight up, it's been great. But to go into detail, I met him that first spring. He came to one of the practices. He was obviously trying to go on his pro route. He was finding his way in the USFL, XFL, things like that, seeing if he would be drafted or have an opportunity in the NFL. But he came to one of the practices, and I just asked him for some advice as far as like the college game and just how I should approach it, and if I should just, what I should do, just because I know he'd been there. He has those experiences, he's been through it all, the ups and downs, which he's told me about, obviously. But, later on down the road, whenever I became the starter and I've been playing for a while, he told me, because he'd been back in the program for a little bit, and he was like, yeah, when I came in that spring, I was impressed by you and stuff like that. So I found that pretty cool. I was like, he actually noticed me back then, and thought I could throw the ball pretty well. So that's obviously pretty cool. But he's just been a great mentor and friend as well. He's someone that I can laugh and joke with, and also I can take a lot from as far as just knowledge, because he knows so much. So he's just a good mentor to have in every aspect.